Glenn Whitley, County Judge.
Here.
Roy C. Brooks, Commissioner Precinct 1.
Present.
Marty Van Ravensway, Commissioner Precinct 2.
Here.
Gary Fickus, Commissioner Precinct 3.
Here.
J.D. Johnson, Commissioner Precinct 4.
Here.
Constitutes a quorum.
Thank you. Our invitation this morning will be delivered by Mr. Martin Nurden, First Methodist Church, Fort Worth. After the invocation, please remain standing for our pledges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge. Please join me in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, we pause this morning to acknowledge your sovereignty. Lord, we thank you for your presence with us today. Lord, we thank you for our county commissioners, and we thank you for their leadership. We pray that you would guide them today, that in all of these proceedings, the actions that we take would be pleasing to you and consistent with your will. Lord, the people of this great county are truly blessed, and for this we thank you. Lord, for those who have been blessed, we pray that you would guide us to do the most good for those who are less fortunate. Hear our prayer, O Lord. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Mr. Mangus, agenda announcements?
Thank you, Your Honor. We have several announcements for the court this morning. First, I'd like to remind the court that we are going to do several public hearings. One of those is actually a continuation of a public hearing that we had held previously on the two public hearings dealing with the creation of PEDs for the Eagle Mountain Lake development, the resort at Eagle Mountain Lake. That there is going to be an action item that we're going to request on both of those when we get there, and we'll walk you through that process. Also, members of the court, if we could go to item 9L1. This is under County Judge and Commissioners. Action concerning Block 10. That will be considered after closed this morning. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Board members, you have before you the minutes of our regular meeting of May the 5th. Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Now we're into the time of proclamations and resolutions, and before we get to a certificate of appreciation, I want to call Valina Willis down. I think last week was Valina Willis week. She received through our purchasing area for the work in the hub area, she received 2 awards, both of which are just gorgeous. This from the Entrepreneur Expo she received, and then also, I'm trying not to drop either one of these and break them.
Be a good idea. That wouldn't be good.
Also from the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for her work in the hub area. Okay, we're gonna drop them. We appreciate very much the work that you do in this area, and everybody in the purchasing department. We realize that that sucker's heavy. But we appreciate very much everything that you do and the recognition that you brought to the county.
Thank you.
So feel free to make any comments that you'd like to make. Let's give her a round. You need to come up here because you're going to have to help her carry this stuff back.
Before Valina starts, I just want to say that before Valina, there was no hub position in the purchasing department. There was no roadmap. There was no blueprint. Valina had to create the position out of whole cloth, and she has done an excellent job of doing that. And these recognitions on the part of community organizations are a great testament to the fact that you've made yourself invaluable. Now, you may go.
Before I say anything else, invaluable. My budget is really getting low. Rob's watching every day. But,
This is a no new program budget here.
I just thought I'd try, keep hope alive. But to Judge Whitley and to the Tarrant County family, I indeed say thank you very much. It is an honor to receive these awards from my peers. And I just want to say, as I head to Arlington, I'm participating in Access 2009 with the DFW Minority Business Council. So I'm kind of split in between today, but I did want to come and say thank you very much for having the confidence in me. And I want to also thank my Tarrant County purchasing team. They all came out to support me, and they're willing to help and do whatever it takes to get the job done. So with that, I say thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank all of you. We really do know it's a team effort, and we appreciate all of y'all and all the work that you do for everyone inside of Tarrant County, but also in all the vendors outside. So thank you very much. And also, I believe we have a group here from the Salvation Army, and I believe we have, this is upcoming as National Salvation Army Week.
Judge, we do have the Salvation Army present, and if you would read their proclamation into the record, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Whereas the Salvation Army was created in 1865, bringing soup, soap, and salvation to thousands, and whereas the Salvation Army brought their ministry and services to the United States in the early 1880s and now serves in more than 140 countries, and whereas the Salvation Army has been serving Fort Worth since the 1890s with shelter for the homeless and victims of domestic violence, housing for senior citizens, Christmas assistance, disaster relief, food pantries, prepared meals, life skill training, and more. And whereas the Salvation Army has 2 locations in Fort Worth, the Mabee Social Services Center and the North Side Center, and a center in Midtown Arlington. Through these programs, the Salvation Army serves low to no income individuals, the homeless, the hungry, and the needy. The Mabee Center has programs for the homeless, the duly addicted, for recovering addict mothers with children, and a food pantry that serves meals daily. And other centers provide daycare, family programs, and summer camps, and all are involved in the traditional Christmas assistance for which the Salvation Army is best known. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the Commissioners' Court of Tarrant County, do hereby proclaim the week of May 10th through 16th, 2009 as National Salvation Army Week in Tarrant County. And if the group will come forward, we'll Commissioner Brooks, you may want to go down and make that.
Let me just say that the Salvation Army, in partnership with Tarrant County, the City of Fort Worth, United Way, and others, has become an indispensable part of the safety net in Tarrant County. We could not do what we do without organizations such as Salvation Army. So we thank you for all you do.
Y'all come on down.
Please come forward, yes. Judge Whitley, Commissioner Brooks, and the court, and all those who are here today, we really thank you for this proclamation that just really proclaims Salvation Army, the National Salvation Army Week this week. In 1955, the United States, I don't know if you know this, declared the very first National Salvation Army Week, which was proclaimed by President Dwight D. Eisenhower. 54 years later, today, we are grateful to you for publicly recognizing the Salvation Army. We've been feeding the hungry and sheltering the homeless for over 120 years. In fact, as was stated in 1890, the first homeless Salvation Army mission was started here by a 17-year-old young female.
JD.
Now our message. Her name was Nora Foster, and so you're off the hook. I would like to say, Commissioner Brooks, I want to commend you because for over a year and a half since I've been back in Fort Worth, you have really proclaimed on taking the word they, out of our language. And I hope I don't get emotional. They, as you so eloquently spoke, has spoken about the homeless. They are us. And we need to take the word they out of our vocabulary. And I commend you for doing that, for really spearheading that and helping us turn things around to the Commissioner's Court, too. I mean, you have all been part of this. It's one family, one person, one tragedy at a time. And it couldn't be done without the court here today by helping us be part of that 10-year homelessness plan. Just so you know, from January to March, this year, because of the recession, we've served over 12,000 more meals. We've tripled our financial assistance, and our food boxes have increased doubly every week. And it's at the steps of our court system, it's at the steps of our businesses and our agencies. And we commend you for spearheading that, serving alongside of us. It's so nice to be in a city where you don't turn your head when you see someone who's less fortunate. And I'm proud to be part of that, and I'm proud to be with you. And the Salvation Army gives you that round of applause. So thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Judge.
You bet. I would also note that I believe last week, Marty, you celebrated a birthday. Saturday, so congratulations on that. And Crystal, it's our understanding, I'm not going to sing, but it's our understanding that today is your birthday, so congratulations. Congratulations on that. I also have a certificate of appreciation that we gave to Mitch Carr for emceeing our Employee Appreciation Day last week, so I would move for the ratification of that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. You have before you the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. We have three public hearings today. The first one is with regards to transportation. Ms. Lamb, you want to come on down and we'll go with item A.
Thank you, Judge. I'm here today to request that Commissioners Court consider the placement of stop signs at three locations in Precinct 3. They're all three located on Ray White Road at Eldon Hill Drive, Pinellas Avenue, and Shumack Drive at their intersections with Ray White Road.
This time I will open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone here wishing to testify with regards to this particular item. There appearing none, then I will close the public hearing. Any action?
Move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Maney, or Ms. McMillan.
Judge, Commissioners, you're asked today to consider approval of the creation of the Eagle Mountain Lake Public Improvement District Number 2, an approximate 238.2-acre public improvement district to finance public improvements for the resort on Eagle Mountain Lake development. On March 31st, 2009, the developers from the Eagle Mountain Resort on Eagle Mountain Lake submitted to Commissioners Court a petition for creation of the Public Improvement District and presented information on the planned development and financing for the Public Improvement District improvements. Notice was provided as per the statute to property owners and the public and to the City of Fort Worth, as this is in the extraterritorial jurisdiction of the city. The city has approved an ordinance showing no objection to the creation of this PID. We're asking now that you continue the public hearing that was originally opened on April 21st, 2009 for the creation of this PID.
Is there anyone here today wishing to speak to this matter? There being none, then we will close the public hearing and see if there's any action.
Do you have a request to action?
We'll request that you approve the attached resolution creating the Eagle Mountain Lake Public Improvement District Number 2.
So move.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
The next item is a consideration of the approval of the creation of Eagle Mountain Public Lake Public
You want to
Improvement.
take a running start? Back up a minute.
Eagle Mountain Lake Public Improvement District Number 3. And this is an approximate 27.5054 acre public improvement district to finance improvements for the resort on Eagle Mountain Lake development. Again, the petition was submitted to the Commissioners Court for creation of this PID on March 31st, and information was provided by the developers' representatives. All notices on the public hearing have been published and sent to property owners, and again, the City of Fort Worth has approved an ordinance with no objection to the creation of this PID. We ask now that you hold a public hearing on the creation of this Public Improvement District Number 3.
Is there anyone present here today who would like to speak to this matter? There appearing to be none, we will close the public hearing.
Okay. We're asking Commissioners now to approve the resolution creating the Eagle Mountain Lake Public Improvement District Number 3.
So moves.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
No, you don't.
I want to say that Dan Settle has worked with this group on both of these bids, and Dan, thank you for all your involvement in this.
Your Honor, members of the court, we can go to the administrator's section now. We have 3 additional items we'd like to bring to the court this morning. The first, we're requesting that the Commissioners' Court extend the declaration of disaster regarding the H1N1 influenza originally issued by the county judge on April 27th, 2009, and extended by the Commissioners' Court on May 5th for an additional period of 7 days.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
In the latter part of the agenda, Ms. Brewer and Dr. Parker will be in front of you to discuss the swine flu issue. I will say that you will probably see this continuation of this disaster declaration before you, and as long as we're receiving any type of cases at the Public Health Department. This will allow us to maybe recoup some of the costs that we have. From now on, though, we'll probably put that on as a consent item. Your Honor, members of the court, we can go to item number 2. We're requesting that the Commissioners' Court approve an agreement with the City of Arlington for necessary improvements to Cowboys Way, which was formerly known as Roger Street, Randall Mill Road, Legends Way, which was formerly known as Barrett Farm Road, and Sanford Street.
Move for approval?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Your Honor, members of the court, on item number 3, this concerns action regarding the jail commissary services contract. At the conclusion of my presentation, I'm going to request that the Commissioners' Court direct staff to complete a contract with an authorized vendor as it relates to this particular item. The sheriff is here to address the court also at this time. Let me just give some background. There's a statutory requirement that this particular contract be bid once every 5 years, and that those bids are conducted by the sheriff, and then the sheriff makes a recommendation to Commissioners' Court. There were 3 responses to the RFP. One was Five Star Correctional Services, one was Keefe Commissary Network, and the third one was Swanson Services Corporation. The sheriff and his department analyzed the submissions to that RFP and are recommending that we negotiate a contract with Five Star Correctional Services as a primary vendor and Keith Commissary Network as a secondary vendor. Sheriff Anderson is here to address the court and answer any questions that you might have at this time.
Good morning. I'll be brief where we can, obviously discuss any of these details as much as you want. 5 years ago when we bid this contract, we were probably earning one of the lower per capita for prisoner rates, and I was very proud to bring what I believe then was the most lucrative contract forward. And as we went to rebid, with the economic times being what they were, I was concerned that we were might even take a step back. So I was thrilled when we had 3 really solid companies step up and bid. We had some very strong financial bids, and in fact, will not only continue what we've done, but be able to increase our income for the county. We really looked hard. We had 3 separate people that analyzed all of the bids separately. We looked hard at a lot of factors. Obviously, commissary is one of the 3, what we call the 3 keys to running a good jail. If you have good food, a good commissary, and good visitation, then it tends to keep the unrest down in your jails. And sadly, I know you all remember when we didn't have good food and we had some problems, and we certainly don't want to go down that path again. So we were fortunate to have some really good bids. I think it came down for all 3 of us to really looking at the 2 top companies, which is our current provider, Five Star, and a very strong challenger from Keefe. And it really came down to a few things for us. One was that the Five Star bid guarantees us more money. And with the economy doing what it's doing, with our prisoner population actually going down a little bit, and we've actually seen a decrease in per deposit amount for our commissary fund. And so I thought the guarantee was very, very important for us, and to be guaranteed $1 million a year, I think was a great accomplishment for the bid. And the other is just I think the comfort level and the continuation of the continuing service that we have. We have had less than 0 problems with our current vendor. They are tremendously supportive in many, many ways, as we saw last Tuesday when they were passing out ice cream at the employee awards, and they support our department in many, many ways as well. And so I think we certainly could have lived with either vendor, but I just think in the long run it was interesting because 3 of us took the bids. We didn't communicate. We did our complete evaluation of it, and all 3 of us came back with the exact same first and second recommendation of using Five Star as the primary vendor and Keefe as the secondary vendor. It was a great competition. I think the county wins in this, and I think that we will move forward without a hitch. One more tiny aspect that played into at least my consideration is I think there is some benefit to having the same company provide your food service as your commissary service. And right now, Five Star is the food vendor as well. So I think that gives us another slight advantage in that world. So with that, I'll answer any questions that you might have, but I would request that you approve our recommendation.
Sure. Give me an idea of what items cost an inmate, just normal. Coca-Cola, candy bars, what do they charge?
I don't have the prices in front of me, Commissioner, but the law states that we have to stay competitive with convenience store prices, basically, what you can go down to a 7-Eleven and buy it for, and we audit it regularly to be sure that we're on that plane. And so it's a standard price list that we had. Everyone that bid the project had to meet that exact same menu and that exact same price list as it exists.
Is there a representative here that could say, is it like a Coca-Cola, is it like $1 or $1.25 or $3 or?
Somebody bring a price list, Bob, show you something.
Do what?
I have it down.
What did you say?
I didn't bring it with me, I'm sorry.
But they wouldn't know?
No.
Huh?
I'm no one here that knows exactly off the top of our head what it is.
Mr. Austin doesn't know?
I'm sorry?
Is he still here?
Bob
Austin here.
Bob,
Does
do
he
you
know
keep
what
up?
it is?
He doesn't
I'm
keep-
just wondering what it costs.
Commissioner, I have those. I have the responses in my office downstairs if you'd like for me to go get those.
You said $1 to $1.10.
That's fine.
Something
Okay.
like that.
I just didn't know if it was $1 or $3.
Yeah, no, like I said, it has to be audited.
It has to be
against-
competitive. Okay.
Yeah, against
That
that.
was, okay.
And we do run audits periodically and then check it with the convenience store prices to be sure. We do have an audience participation form, Bill Bosco. Bill, would you come forward at this point in time? If you wouldn't mind, go ahead and state your name and address so that we can get that into the record.
Sure. My name is Bill Bosco at 2362 Spring Mill Estates Drive in St. Charles, Missouri, 63303. And I just want to thank the commissioners for the time today and thank the county also. It was a very fair bid process. We just wanted to make sure that it was out there and aware that it would be about a 12% reduction in current sales off of what was in the original RFP for the guarantee to go into effect. Our 36% commission rate would offer the county nearly $150,000 more to the Inmate Welfare Fund based on current sales, and we do have a track record of increasing sales. So it's a possibility of even a further growth for the county. And that's all we wanted to really say, and we respect the decision of the county. Obviously, the sheriff and Bob Knowles put out a great RFP, and we just appreciate being a part of the process.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
I'll move approval of the sheriff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Ms. Tidwell.
This morning, we're asking the Commissioners' Court to receive and file the Auditor's Report of Tarrant County's exit review for Constable Precinct 2, and that the previous constable retired, the new constable assumed office, and we did some routine procedures, and the report is attached with the constable's comments.
Move approval to receive and file.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to receive and file. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Ms. Glenn? Ms. Worthy? Is she over there?
No, sir.
She's
Can't
not,
see her. Can't see her. So I thought maybe she just didn't want to exercise today.
no, she's not here today. Our first item is requesting that you receive and file the personnel agenda.
So moved.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is a request for approval of a waiver of terminal benefits for information technology. One of their support specialists actually retired on May 1st, initially with 113 hours. Obviously, some time will have passed by the time they're asking for this position to be filled on May 15th. So they'll have 41 remaining hours. And part of the reason they're asking for this is because the new individual will need to attend some training, and there'll be a gap in time if they have to wait for that person for the next. Then there'll actually be a net fiscal savings based on what the new person will be coming in at.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Our second item is also an approval for a waiver of terminal benefits from Elections Administration. Again, there was an individual that retired on May 13th with, March 31st, initially with 397 hours. Obviously, there's been some period of time. The remaining amount of hours they're requesting is 157. Again, there is a cost savings based on the individual that will be replacing.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Ms. Moore, Public Health. Good morning.
We have two items for your approval this morning. The first is a professional services contract with the Big Bad Wolf Creative Group to create and implement a web page for Tarrant County Public Health. And this is a follow-up to the obesity grant that we received earlier and you approved. So this will be about obesity and overweight prevention.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. The second item is a professional services contract with Dallas County for enhanced influenza surveillance supporting the Tarrant County Public Health Department. This is part of our syndromic surveillance. It's very timely. We've been working with Dallas County Health and Human Services to bring them on board with the syndromic surveillance, and so the contract is with them, and then they'll work with their schools to get them on to the flu surveillance system.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
I'd just like to say, Ms. Brewer, that I just came back from a Robert Wood Johnson summit on childhood obesity, and I brought back some best practices material with your name on it.
Great, wonderful, very good. Thank you. All right.
Mr. Beecham.
She's greeting you.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have just one item for your consideration this morning, and
Instead
I'm
of Judge Vandergriff, where did you get that tie?
on sale.
It's obvious.
The price was right.
My goodness, I didn't know you could get that red.
Some things don't change.
We don't pay him enough, Judge. That was one of my old ties.
Easy now.
Well, if Judge Vandergriff happens to be watching today, I hope
He should
go right ahead.
Yes, sir. Our only item is in regards to RFP number 2009-032, RFP for HVAC test, adjustment, balancing, and commissioning services. We are seeking approval to conduct negotiations with these two firms.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jack. Come on down, Ms. Lamb.
Thank you, Judge. I'm here today to request that the Commissioners Court consider a change in scope related to the Pipeline Road project in the city of Hurst. This project was approved for funding in the 2006 Transportation Bond Program as a reconstruction of Pipeline Road from Precinct Line Road eastward to the Hurst city limits. The city has now requested that we shift the project limits approximately 2,000 feet so that they now extend from Billy Ruth Lane to Brown Trail. There's no other changes in the project.
So is this extending the project, or is it shortening the project?
It's shortening just slightly. Basically, we're shifting it 2,000 feet.
Shifting it?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. There's a slight shortening of the project, which is reflected in a slight lowering of the cost, but basically it's just a shift.
Okay.
I do have Ron Haynes from the City of Hurst here, Director of Public Works, if you'd have any questions.
I move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes 4-1.
Thank you.
We'll do L1 after closed. Any appointments today? There being none, then we'll move to the claims, including the addendum.
Judge, before we go to claims, let me ask a question of bonds. We've had constables on this agenda for quite a while, and I talked with Ann Damon some about that, and the reason was that reserve deputies, non-paid deputies, are required to post a bond before they can be a deputy. I'm not real sure that everybody in the world knew that, because there's a lot of deputy constables that don't have these bonds posted. Our constable has now called a meeting of all of his reserves together for, I believe, tomorrow night, and he has a blanket bond, or a bond that insurance company is willing to write for like $48, I believe, for a 4-year bond. I think it's $2,000 bond. But I just wanted to call to everybody's attention that this is a requirement. The DA's office has found that we are to require those constables with reserve deputies to have that bond. Is that a fact?
That's correct, and the bond is payable to the constable, as I understand, not to the county. It's kind of interesting little twist. So,
well, I've been here a long time, and until this item came up this year, I had never heard of that requirement before on the reserve deputies. And I'm not real sure if the same requirement is required on sheriff's deputies or not. I mean reserve deputies, I didn't get into that. Don't intend to, but I wanted everybody to know it because your constables are probably going to be calling on you because they have to pay for this. The county does not furnish it. And once again, it's $48 for 4 years if this...
$48 a piece?
$48 each.
Each.
Yes. If this policy meets the test that the DA's office will require. And it's my understanding we should have an answer. If not, the constable may have already received one. I don't know.
All of the constables have been notified, is that correct, Mr. Martinez?
Yes.
So that's
Thank
just
you.
a FYI.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Johnson.
And with that, I will move approval of the claims, including the addendum.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the claims, including the addendum. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion will pass unanimously.
Your Honor, we have several items for the court this morning on briefing. The first is an update as it relates to the H1N1 influenza. Ms. Brewer and Dr. Parker are here to address the court at this time. Ms. Brewer is.
I'm going to give you a quick summary of some of our numbers and our activities today, and then Dr. Parker will give you an overview of how the situation is being viewed in the world, at the state, and locally, and be available for questions. As we reported yesterday at 3 o'clock, we have 66 confirmed cases in Tarrant County. We do expect that number to continue to increase as long as we're getting tests back from the CDC. As you recall, we had sent a number of probable tests that we tested in our lab to CDC, and we're starting to get a lot of those back now. We got at least 2 groups back yesterday, so we expect to continue to get those back until they've done all of the tests we've sent.
So getting new probable?
We're continuing to test in the lab. The numbers of specimens that we're receiving has gone down quite a bit, which we would anticipate at this point in time. And so this afternoon maybe, I'm trying not to say that.
I have seen that little girl a couple of times. I knew that what she was thinking was she was going to say probably.
We may have, you're right there with us, aren't you, Judge? You understand completely.
You will likely have.
We will likely have a few more today based on the specimens we've received since
But we
yesterday.
are still getting submissions of...
Yes, but the number of specimens coming in from the community is down considerably from what it has been.
A good example is that on the 10th, we received 4 samples to be tested from the community. Yesterday, according to our charge, we received 3 samples. At one time, we were receiving over 100 samples a day. So, as Ms. Brewer says, it is going down significantly.
And so far, this week, the lab has been able to run all of those samples during that day in one batch, and our epidemiology investigative team has been able to contact everybody and follow up, and we've been able to do the notifications. And we continue to do that as the status changes. We continue to notify our partners. However, what we are saying to them at the very beginning, and just another moment of clarification here, is we knew we would be getting quite a few confirmed back. We went ahead and addressed the probables per the guidance of CDC and our health authority, Dr. Parker, as we got those probables in the past days. So we've already contacted people who were probable. We've already contacted the partners who needed to know and taken action. So this is information coming in really after the action has been taken. And I'll let Dr. Parker come up and comment.
Good morning. I just wanted to let everyone know that the situation in Tarrant County mirrors the situation for the state and the nation and the globe. The situation appears to be slowing down. Not as many specimens are being received at the CDC for testing, and not as many specimens have been received at the state. The reports, as Ms. Brewer noted, the reports are coming back regarding the confirmations, but again, the actions that needed to be taken for these particular cases were done when they were probables. It is not, the information about confirming is just additional information, but it doesn't change the current management.
Probably by the end of the week, we will have all of our cases, except for maybe the ones or twos that we send in this week. We'll have everything back from CDC, but as we had expected, most of the stuff that comes back from CDC is being confirmed. We've only had 2 negative cases, with at least from the Tarrant County ones that we've sent up there. Of the 92 we've sent, we've had results come back.
True. The large number that we had sent in at the height of the event, we have slowly been receiving those results back, and the small number of probables that we send will continue to get those back. But again, the CDC information is confirming our suspicions that when we sent a probable test, over 90% of those have been coming back as confirmed. So the actions that we took based on the probables was the action for, they're just letting us know that these are confirmed now.
So that, again, kind of reinforces y'all's earlier decision, and that was to go ahead and begin treating the probables as though, without waiting for the confirmation coming from CDC.
Absolutely.
Now, the next, I guess, shift of places to really watch, and GK and I were talking about this a little bit yesterday, would be the southern atmosphere, where they're now entering their winter months. So at this point, we'll begin watching down there, and then the next close watch for this area will be in the fall and fall of this year for us.
Again, absolutely.
And hopefully by then, do they have the vaccine yet, or are they now, they're currently working on the vaccine?
They're currently working on a vaccine. It's in development, and it can take several months for that. There's been no indication of when that would be available at this time, but it does take several months. And you're absolutely correct. The Southern Hemisphere is entering their flu season, so it's very important for us to watch what does occur down there to see if we can identify any changes in the virus that could possibly return in the fall.
Do we know whether or not, just as we're anticipating ours, we're in the spring, we're anticipating it returning in the fall, do we have any idea whether or not they had this in their spring, or did it all kind of originate here recently, and so this will be their first exposure to it in the fall in the Southern Hemisphere?
It seems that this will be their first exposure to it during this flu season. According to the reports, the WHO first started receiving information regarding the novel H1N1 in March of this year. It had not been noted previous to that time.
Okay.
So this should be their first exposure to that as well.
Dr. Parker, what have we learned from our response to H1N1 that might help us in future outbreaks of the flu?
What we've learned is that the things that we have practiced and the things that we have talked about, those things work. According to our plans, we had anticipated something of this sort, but you can't anticipate everything. Of course, changes need to be made, revisions need to be made, but again, I think that what we've learned is that we do have the information there to be prepared, and we just need to tweak that.
We've got good systems in place. We've got good testing. We've got good surveillance. We've got healthcare providers educated as to what they need to look for and what they need to do once they find it. Our systems work.
Absolutely, they work. Of course, we can always improve. There's always room for improvement, but our systems do work.
Go right ahead.
Sometimes in the past I've noted that there seems to be like a lesser second wave of flu that comes along. Maybe 2 weeks after it kind of died down, there's another comeback. Do you anticipate anything like that with this one?
We're not anticipating anything like that at this time, but we remain watchful. That's why all of the specimens that we do receive, they're all being tested, and we're trying to determine if the virus is still present, which we do expect it. But if we start noticing an increase, then we will become more concerned and more watchful about what's going on in our community. But at this point, we don't expect a second surge. But again, this is a new virus, and we don't know how it's going to act, so all information is important.
When the schools were closed, what's the latest likelihood that any of those kids would be symptomatic?
The question is a little bit difficult to answer, but perhaps this answers the question. The period of infectiousness, we have anticipated or expected at 7 days, according to the information that the CDC has provided to us. So if a child became symptomatic, we would expect them to remain out of school for 7 days. If they were sick with an influenza-like illness, so fever, cough, sore throat, body aches, we would expect the parents to keep them out for 7 days. So and we would also expect that if someone were exposed to someone with those symptoms, meaning that they had come in contact, that we would expect them to show signs of illness within 7 days as well. So that's what we describe as the incubation period and the period of infectiousness.
Isn't that a little bit longer than what most incubation periods have been in the past? I was thinking that listening to this in the past that you were usually talking about 3 to 4 days, some of which was before you actually realized you were infectious.
Correct. Usually we would say 1 to 2 days before you became symptomatic, and then 1 to 2 days following that. But again, this is a new virus, and we don't know that information 100%. We're estimating that at approximately 7 days. As all of the data comes in across the nation, they'll be able to perhaps determine that better and narrow that window. But 7 days is still the period that we're looking at this point.
Okay. So after testing, they'll determine exactly what the incubation period is. To be safe, we're certainly going to 7 days right now from that perspective. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'd just like to suggest that when we get through to the other side of this episode, that the Public Health Department prepare a report to the community with lessons learned and best practices, so that when we face this situation again, which we undoubtedly will, there won't be any drop-off in compliance.
I think one of the things that we hope to do between now, after we've had a chance to move away from this a little bit and have a chance to kind of recoup, and again, I really want to thank everyone and tell them how much we appreciate what I know have been some extended hours over the last couple of weeks. But once we can kind of back away from this and have a chance to kind of catch up, I plan on at least bringing us together and look at what are our needs with regards to equipment, with regards to personnel. We have had some conversations with the Health Science Center about what they might be able to do in help. It's hard to staff up for the concentrated effort that was necessary for the last 2 weeks. It's also, difficult to go out and possibly buy all the equipment that would be necessary for something that may occur once every, hopefully no more regularly than 5 or 10 years, but hopefully not even that regularly. But I think we need to look at that, and I think we've learned some stuff, but that's the thing that I hope over the next month we have a chance to do, in addition to looking at how we might better communicate with everyone on exactly where we are, what's going on. But again, I really want to stress how much we appreciate the job you've done, and please convey that back to everybody back at the shop where, they're just beginning to kind of come down, hopefully, from what has been a very, very stressful, past couple of weeks.
Well, thank you for that. And first of all, we'll be very glad to meet with you and to bring a report back in here as another briefing in the future. I think because we are watchful about this novel virus and because we are hearing that we need to be really watching for next fall, that we will bring recommendations back to you as you've requested. And I did want to say, and I thank you for recognizing, we have a great staff, and that was another real asset, and every one of them was willing to work as long as it took to get the job done. So I want to publicly thank them and really appreciate all of that hard work and effort. And I did want to mention one other thing. We will continue to do our 3 o'clock update on the web as long as we're receiving tests and waiting for test results, and certainly if anything changes. So thank you very much for your support.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Members of the Court, if we could go to item B. This concerns an update on the FY10 budget issues. While we don't have anything to present to you today, we will be talking with you somewhat next week because this coming Friday, May 15th, we will get our first roll back from TAD to begin to see what some of the valuations are for the AV. So, and obviously we'll pick up a valuation in May and one in June, and then the July valuation is what we set the tax rate on. So we should be receiving that this coming Friday, and we'll be discussing that with you next week. If we could move to item C, this concerns the stimulus package. We don't have any new information for you this morning. And then finally on item D, legislative issues, I believe Mr. Mendez has included a memo in your book. I'll be more than happy to try to answer any questions that you might have, or if any of you have any comments on pending legislation.
Well, our TLATA bill, our Local Option Transportation Act, did get passed out of the House Transportation Committee this morning. So it's now on its way to calendars and then hopefully to the House floor. We're still in the middle of making sausage. So we've still got a way to go, but hopefully we'll get it past the House into conference committee, and then we'll see what comes out of conference committee.
Do you know if we have a specific bill that we're tracking that addresses the, I guess you would say, zoning or the impact of drilling in the unincorporated area and having the counties have more authority on what might be done?
Senator Davis has introduced that bill. I believe that Commissioner Brooks has been working with Senator Davis. I don't know what the status of that bill is, but I will get that information for you.
My understanding is that it's passed the Senate and is in the House.
Okay. We'll get a number for you.
I need a number.
Your Honor, that's all we have this morning.
At this time, we will recess the open session, proceed to closed session, discuss items exempt under Section 951.071, 072, 074, 076, and 087 of the Texas Government Code.
Yes.
I think Roy went to his lunch.
Yeah, Roy went to lunch.
Item E1, we're requesting authorization for the acceptance of a check in the amount of $9,000 payable to Tarrant County in a subrogation recovery.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously. Please note that Commissioner Brooks is not here.
With regard to item E2, we're requesting authorization to settle and have the judge sign this settlement agreement. The amount is $8,500 payable to Encore Electric Delivery Company with this amount to be paid from self-insurance without the necessity to first appear on the claims, and authorizing the auditor to pay same.
Move for approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Please vote. Motion passes unanimously.
That's all we have, Your Honor.
We are adjourned.